very happy to be here with you today. Someone recently sent me a question, and I thought it was a good question and one that maybe other people would benefit from hearing the answer to. So I decided to make this video, and I hope that it's helpful to all of you who are listening and watching. So the question is, how do I find the space of awareness? So in essence, where is awareness and how do I discover it? So the question implies a search for something. And usually when we search for something, we think we don't have it and we look outside ourselves for that thing. So say, for example, that you lose your keys and you realize that. So at that moment you don't have your keys. And then you look around your house and you pick up a piece of paper and there they are. You've now found your keys and you have them. So that's the normal way that we search for things. We look outside ourselves. We're looking for a thing, a specific object. And then when we get it, there's this sense of kind of peace inside. There's like, okay, I'm resting. Because now I have that thing that I was looking for. So looking for awareness is a little bit different. So what we're looking for is not a thing like a set of keys, but what we're actually looking for and searching for is the experience of being aware. And this being aware experience is not outside ourselves. It's always here, available to be discovered, because it's the underlying experience of everything. It's the formless ground of being from which everything arises. So our thoughts, our emotions, our stories about things, our perceptions of objects in the world, all of that arises not from nowhere and nothing, but from this like formless vibration of life that's always here and always available to us. So to look for this experience of being aware, we don't look outside of ourselves for some object, but rather the invitation is to bring our attention inward, to investigate our inner experience. Because if awareness, if this being aware experience is the fundamental foundation of everything, if it's this like ultimate life vibration that's here before any objects arise, then it must be here right now in our own experience. So we want to bring our attention in to expand our search into the momentary experience of what's here right now. So say, for example, you're aware of a thought or some patterns of thought running through your mind. So you might be very aware of the thoughts themselves and the content of the thoughts, and you may even be very engaged with the story that those thoughts are telling you. But at that same time, there's also something else. There's this being aware experience. So once you become aware that these thoughts have been running through your mind, you're now beginning to be aware of this that notices those thoughts, this observing presence. So there's this observing presence, this being aware experience that notices that these thoughts are running through your mind. This experience comes to light when we can take a look at the space between thoughts, or the times when our minds might spontaneously just quiet down and we feel at peace and restful. It's discovered not by doing and finding and searching, but more by relaxing into ourselves and relaxing our attention away from the objects that grab our attention. So for example, if you're very engaged in some kind of thought process, this being aware of experiences here, but you're just not aware of that because your attention is engaged in the content of your thoughts. And I'm sure you all know how that is, to be engaged with the content of your thoughts. They seem very real, and the content seems important, and our attention gets very entangled with the content of the thoughts. But if we take a moment realizing that that's where our attention has gone, and we relax our attention away from the content of those thoughts or from any object, and we get quiet and we take a breath, we begin to be able to lean into that space that's just being aware. It's not actually a space, but that's a word we can use to help to describe it. It's an experience of simple stillness and silence. So I want to invite you now to close your eyes, and let's just see if we can get a taste of this. So closing your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. Just begin by taking a couple of slow and conscious breaths. And by conscious, I mean be aware of the sensations of the breathing as you inhale and as you exhale. Just being aware of what's happening in your body as you inhale and exhale. And then see what it is that you notice. So you might be paying attention to the sounds of my voice, and you might feel some sensations in your body. And maybe there's something else going on, maybe some thoughts running through your mind, wondering, am I doing this right? Am I going to be able to find this awareness? Just notice those thoughts. And now I want to invite you just to see if it's possible to relax your attention away from the sensations, away from thought, away from the breathing. And when I say away, meaning more into yourself. So as my voice quiets and there's quiet here, just notice there's a sense of stillness. So I say another word and then there's an object to pay attention to. But in any moment you can relax your attention away from those sounds, away from any sensations. And you begin to notice that there's this presence, this observing presence that notices anything that comes up in your experience. So you might notice it's actually not you finding this experience of being aware. Attention is just noticing what's already here and what's already the case. So in a moment, I'm going to invite you to open your eyes. But before you do, really let yourself expand into this quiet, into this being aware space that has nothing in it. No sound, no forms at all, but somehow it just has this sense of being alive. So allow yourself to rest here, and then when it feels right to you, you can begin to open your eyes. So you might wonder, what's the big deal about being aware of this being aware experience, of finding it and discovering it and being able to return to it over and over? Well, as you might have discovered in this very short meditation here, when we tap into this being aware experience, when our attention finds it and it can rest there, there's a sense of peace. This being aware experience isn't doing anything. It isn't trying to make anything happen. It's not trying to solve problems. In fact, it's quite effortless and peaceful. And we notice that when we begin to be able to rest our attention here. So know that this being aware experience is always here. It's always available to us. And when I say us, I mean our attention can rest here in any moment, in any time of agitation and worry and upset and being caught in whatever the mind is telling you. It's always possible to take a breath and return your attention to this being aware experience. So feel free to write any comments below this video. I'll be taking a look at them. And it's wonderful to be here with you today. And I'll make another video soon and see you then. Be well. Bye-bye.